What's up YouTube, Webbers5 here, coming at you with the update to my Pendulum Magician deck profile. My main deck, so let's get straight to it. Okay, so starting the Magician profile off, we've got the standard triple chronograph and the one time gazer. Chronograph, he's a great way to tutor out monsters, good way to start up your Electromite combo to drop the time gazer from the deck. He's a level 6, so he's good for the Naruto play. Blah. So yeah, pretty much one of the best ones in the deck by far. Next, probably one of the best low scales, double oath dragon. I was trying this at 3 because of the new Celestial Observatory, which I'm finding is still working well, but now I'm seeing the oath dragon just a little bit too much, so cut it back to 2, and seems to still be working fine. Generally, still using him as the scale. Generally, mainly using him as the scale 2. Sometimes I drop him off the harmonizing for the Naruto play. Depends on the situation. Next up, triple wisdom eye, because he's by far just the best scale in the deck. Just tutors for any magician that you want. Essentially, one of the main reasons this deck doesn't break, because of this guy. So good. Triple harmonizing magician. Pendulum tutor. So what you use for all your synchro plays. Useful as a scale to give you that little extra damage if you're trying to push for game. Yeah, she's like one of the best ones in the deck. I can see why OCG hit her to 1, but we still got her at 3, so play her at 3. Next, double Black Fang. I just feel 2 is the best ratio. He's definitely one of the skills I want to start off with quite early, but since I don't really want to draw into it, I mainly want to try and float into it, maybe off a harmonizing if I can hit multiple of them. And useful mid to late game to bring back Dark Spellcasters from the grave. So useful like that. Next up, double purple poison. I cut this back from 3 to 2, and I think that was a really good decision because it gave me that better space to try other stuff, and 2, I really didn't need to see too much of him too much. That was really poor wording. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, I rarely use him as a scale, but sometimes he's useful if I need to push for that bit of extra damage or get that little extra attack gain to hit over something. But generally like him for his monster effect. If he's destroyed by battle card effect, target a face-up card on the field and destroy it. So really great way to good way to out floodgate cards. It just might cost me a bit of damage, but yeah, no pain, no gain. That's it for the magicians I'm playing. Next, into the odd eyes that I'm using. Standard 1 odd eyes dissolver, because he's my method of summoning vortex, and he also puts a bit of extra damage on the field, which is not during the battle phase, which is quite nice. Useful in both turns, because if I'm trying to push for game, he's a 2k extra points I can use, or a good way to keep my monsters from being destroyed. And then he's got a 2/6 defense, which is pretty solid. And since he counts as a perform powers and odd eyes, he meets the perform power requirements of my Gatling Gun and the odd eyes requirements of my Vortex. And 2 odd eyes Persona Dragon. I'm liking this just as a way to another additional negate of extra deck stuff. Persona can once per turn in either turn target one monster special summon the extra deck and negate its effects until the end phase. So yeah, pretty useful like that. Quite useful like that. Finding it useful. It also makes for a really easy side if I'm against a non-extra deck specific deck, like say Pure Trickstar or True Draco. Really easy card to side out like that. And then for the Electromite Turbo bits, standard 3 Master Cerberus and 2 Jackal King. Because that one. Because yeah, they're really great way to just try and turbo out the Electrum quickly, so I can start making plays. Kind of sucks when I hit into multiple of the Master Cerberus, but that's just one of the risks I have to take sometimes. Also, sometimes find Master Cerberus really useful if I need to out a problematic monster pretty quickly. And sometimes I don't always use it in that combo. Sometimes if I've got the Chronograph already in my hand, I might just go Cerberus, pop to add the Jackal, effective Chronograph, special summon itself, and special summon Jackal, so I can already put some spell counters on the field. And next, playing 2 Darkworm and 1 Gate 0. I cut Darkworm back from 3 to 2 because I was finding I was actually seeing it in my hand a little bit too much when ideally I just want to mill it. So cut it back. So yeah, cut it back, and so far I've seen dramatic improvements in the deck in doing so. And playing 2 of it means I can still use the secondary effect of Supreme King Dragon Clearwing should it be in my graveyard. So yeah. 2 I'm finding is absolutely fine. That's it for all the pendulums, and then just to round off the monsters, playing double Apex Avian because he's a big negating chicken, and I like that. So yeah, Apex Avian can negate any card or effect, so as well as being able to negate cards like, say, Desire's Terraforming, it can negate the effects of cards like, say, Diagram, really useful. Diagram, any active cards, really good like that. So yeah, absolutely just love him. He's just a massive negate. Love him for that. Who doesn't love a... And this deck... And most people have seen the kind of negates that magicians can put out. Who doesn't love a good negate in this deck? And this guy is just one of the... And this guy is just one of the best negates in the game. So that's it for the monsters. Moving into the spells. To help with the Darkworm, playing 2 Dragon Shrine and 1 Foolish Burial. I don't feel the need to play any more. I don't feel the need to play any additional Dragon Shrines, and that's another advantage of the Persona. Should I be in the position that I need to just use the Dragon Shrine, say if I've got a Jackal King on board and I need to put some spell counters on it, I can just send an Odd-Eyes Persona, which isn't so bad. But primarily, again, just using it for the send Darkworm to set that up quickly. Next, my draw cards. 1 Desires. Not really any explanation. Desires is Desire. Well, Desires is Desires. It's a +1, so it's amazing. I cut this down back from 2 to 1 just because I found I was at 2. I was potentially I was either like drawing into it or having 2 in my hand, which isn't great. And because of the other draw card I'm playing, I didn't feel the need to play anymore. The other draw card I'm playing being 2 Celestial Observatory. So Celestial Observatory is take a level 6 from your hand or field, put it to the bottom of the deck and draw 2. I play like 8 level 6s. I play 8 level 6s in this deck. Oh, wait, do I play 8 level 6s? Let me think. 3 Chronograph, 2 Oath, 2 Jack. Okay, I play 7 level 6s. 7 level 6s, so pretty simple way for me to use it. I mainly like it because if it means I've got a Wisdom, so I've got the Wisdom, the high scale I want, and the Oath Dragon, I can just go Observatory, get rid of the Oath Dragon, draw 2, then I can just float it back in off Wisdom Eye. Or say I've opened the Master Cerberus and I've opened a Jackal King, I can go Observatory, get rid of the Jackal King, draw 2, then Cerberus, add back the Jackal King, so I can do it again. Essentially, I put in the Observatory to help with those situations where I've got the level 6s in my hand when I'd actually prefer to have them in my deck. Furthermore, with 3 Chronograph, it's just potential additional draw power. Yeah. And a couple of the guys at my locals still think this is probably one of the most effective decks that could potentially use Celestial Observatory at the moment. From what I think of it, Thunder Dragons could use it, but primarily you just want to banish the Thunder Dragons as opposed to put them in your deck. But if you say got the Gold Sock and you want to banish one of the level 6s, sure, you could do it like that. But yeah, I'm still finding Magician's one of the best decks of using this card. Next card, Super Poly. My deck's all dark. My deck's all dark. So Starving Venom, great card. Also, Dark's a generic attribute, so good way to disrupt your opponent's board if they've got a problematic monster. Boral Sword, Dragon, Borreload. Really good like that, so just an easy fusion. And naturally, because I play the Dissolver and Personas, it's another way for me to. It's a potential way for me to make Vortex in the battle phase as well, which is quite nice. And naturally, of course, Super Poly can't be responded to, so your opponent's just gonna have to sit there and deal with it. And then the last card's rounding up the spells. This is something I tried recently after seeing some test videos on YouTube by some other Pendulum decks. I'm now playing 3 Secret Village of the Spellcaster and 1 Terraforming. So for those who don't know, Secret Village states if you control a spellcaster and your opponent doesn't, your opponent can't activate spell cards. But if you control no spellcaster monsters, you can't activate spell cards. So after seeing it test and from that deck I watched online, I thought it was really good. Plus, if I go first against Trickstar, Sky Striker. Sorry, those decks keep getting mixed. Those decks I keep getting mixed together because so many decks are playing Sky Striker, Trickstar. So, yeah. But if I'm against Sky Strikers and I'm going, this gives me a really good chance going first, because if I can just go Secret Village turn 1 against them, Sky Strikers are pretty much done. They're just not really going to be able to work off that. I mean, the best they can do is normal summon Ray, turn Ray into something, but Ray on its own really, but one of the Sky Striker links on its own really isn't going to do much. Yeah, they can go into a Hayate and hit you directly for 15, but yeah, that's about it. So yeah, really liking Secret Village because turn one that can just shut down so many decks in the meta right now. Though I have to say, during one of my more recent test games against my friend Joe, who was playing zombies, I made the. Okay, guys, please don't judge me too much on this. I literally forgot the card was on the field. So he was playing his zombie deck. He had Zombie World. I activated Secret Village. After I made my board, I activated Secret Village before I'd set my pendulums. And naturally, Zombie World tells almost on the field to zombies. So, yeah, I kind of locked myself out of using my own spells. I still won the game. Everyone makes mistakes. Please don't judge me too harshly for that. But still, loving the Secret Village since I put it in. Okay, so that's it for the main deck. Then for the extra deck, play for the links. Start with the standard 1 Electromite. No explanation needed. It's Electromite. And then 1 Wee Witch's Apprentice. Using this as my backup scale if, for say, the Electromite play gets stopped or like cherries. Plus, Wee Witch is decent. Gives me that bit of extra bonus as well if I'm trying to push the game. 1 Metaltron. On the off chance I may be able to drop both of my Link 2s and just extend off of that. I'm not really playing Metaltron as frequently now. I'd frankly like a better Link 3 that I can extend into, maybe something a bit more generic. Like, I was thinking Unicorn, but then if I'm doing it off of that, then I'm just gonna be going, I'll be at like 1 less scale I'll be at 1 less Link Arrow unless I can summon it to a zone like say the Electromite points to, but then I'd need to get both the Link 3 other monsters on the field, which isn't difficult but not ideal. But so yeah, for the moment I'm still keeping it in, but I'll see as the format develops. Next, 1 triple burst dragon. Just get. So triple burst I put in partially for the Sky Striker matchup to stop the recurrence of Ray, the Ray. Also good for stopping other things. He's a Piercer, which is nice. And then I like him for his final effect of trigger himself. I'll bring back a Link 2, then potentially special summon a dragon from your hand, which is another advantage of me playing Persona because it gives me the potential chance I've got a dragon in my. And then I get to use Electromite's effect again. And also he sets up for my Link 4 play. Speaking of which, my Link 4 of choice is Boral Sword Dragon, because helps push a game, and he's just so good. How can you not like a Boral Sword? Well, actually, you wouldn't like the borrowed sword if it's being used on you. Yeah. I was very surprised to hear recently that borrowed sword had gone up in price, so I was really glad that I picked this up at the price I did. But yeah, borrowed sword, just amazing. Minimum explanation needed. And the XZs that I'm playing, one Dweller to stop grave-specific decks. Most of my XZs are just like situationals. I don't really use them too frequently unless I feel the deck is necessarily needing it. So yeah, Dweller for grave-specific decks. I still do get things like True Draco. It's also another way to stop the recurrence of Ray, so if I drop Dweller before I make my attack, so I could go Dweller, attach, turn off the grave, no Ray, then battle phase, swing. One Naruto, decent number of level 6s in the deck, easy negate if a spell or trap. Some of my friends pointed out maybe I should cut this because I'm now playing Secret Village, but thinking about it in some circumstances, even if I've got the Secret Village and say I can make a Naruto, it does give me a chance against decks like Altergeist because of things like Infinite Impermanence and Evenly Matched. So it gives me a chance against those as well, even despite the fact that I'm playing Secret Village. And one Supreme King Dark Rebellion, just for the beta. And beta, good way to push for damage. I found in one of my most recent games against the Sky Striker deck, when I dropped Dark Rebellion, I was in the position I was like, okay, that's a Widow Anchor. They did a Widow Anchor target my Dark Rebellion. I had the advantage that I could use Dark Rebellion's second effect to retreat it back to the extra deck and special summon back a Supreme King Gate or Supreme King Dragon, so it rendered the Widow Anchor relatively useless in that situation, but naturally they still got what they wanted and stopped my attack. And last XZs, one Tornado Dragon just for generic back row removal. Synchros, one Ignista, non-targeting removal, also triggers the effects of like Black Fang and Purple Poison if I choose to pop them. Yeah, decent. One Clearwing, board wipe, generic. Board wipe, really decent, can res it because of the Supreme King Dragons if I meet the requirements. And next, this one's an old card I used to play, which I brought back because I've seen most Magician decks playing like Dawn Dragster. Like, I have nothing against Dawn Dragster, but it's mainly just spell trap removal, which frankly, because I'm playing Secret Village and the Naruto, I don't think I need it. But this monster can be useful against certain rogue decks. So I'm playing one Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. So which I can summon through a thinking Harmonizing and Time Gazer to meet the requirements of a 7. So Meteor Burst lets me special summon one from my scale if he gets special summoned. I won't always use that, but I like him for his main effect, which is my opponent cannot activate monster effects during the battle phase, which means yeah. So yeah, that's another way to stop the recurrence of Ray, or anything, or good against monster hand traps. True Draco, I suppose, if you're going to be using an effect in the battle phase. Not really too many decks come to mind, but still, I think he's a really good level 7, and I quite like him. So I'm just giving this a test around for the moment. If I feel he might need more consistency, I might add, say, a level 1 into the... I might add, say, like, a level 1 tuner into the deck because of the number of level 6s I play. Like, Glow Up Bulb would be the easiest one that comes to mind. Or then there's also, like, Tuning Magician, which naturally has synergy with the deck. But I'll see as the format progresses. And then finally, Fusions I'm playing. One Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. As I said, one of the main reasons of the advantage of Super Polymerization being back. My deck's pretty much all dark, so very easy for me to make. I think I also, in one of my more recent games, I did a very fun play. I did a Starving against my friend Joe using his 60-card die. No, actually, I think that might already be in the video, but I'm just going to say it anyway. So I did a Starving Venom against his So I summoned Starving Venom when he had the Conducted Tyranno on the field. So I did Starving Venom, steal his attack and effects. Steal his attack and effects. Then I had the option to book it, but I was just like, meh, attack. Because I had a negate on board in case he would try to do the Tyranno again. In case he tries to do the Tyranno against me. So yeah, that was pretty fun. One Gatling Gold, because Burn's nice this format, particularly from the time rules. The number of games Gatling Goals helped me win. Yeah, he's still one of my MVPs. Really love him. And then the last fusion monster, of course, naturally the one Vortex. Minimum, absolutely no explanation needed of why I play Vortex. And going into my side deck's always varying, but my current side deck for the moment is as follows: 3 Ash Blossom, just generic stopping, searching from the deck. Really great for going second. This one's a newer edition from Soul Fusion. 3 Dinorissa Pancratops. Really great card. Another really great card for going second, because he's just if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, special summon him. You can tribute a Dialer, and once per turn tribute a Dinorissa to pop a card. You can pop a card. So good way to out the floodgates. Decided to give this a go over Twin Twister for potential issues like, say, anti-spell fragrance, because this is just slightly quicker. So plus it outs monster floodgates as well. So decent. Thought I'd give it a go. 2 Junke. I cut him down into the side deck because I figured since I don't play the absolute version in my deck, I didn't really feel like I felt like I didn't really need it. Plus, light monsters seem to have taken a back seat this format, with the exception of Trickstar, but essentially he's only really good against that deck at the moment, unless some other light-based deck comes into the meta, which I'm not sure it will do at the moment, but we'll see as the format progresses. So yeah, Junke cut to the side just for primarily the Trickstar matchup if I'm going can work first or second, primarily going first. But Junke is pretty difficult against the Candina, because if they've already got the Lycoris in hand, naturally they can just effective Lycoris, bounce the Candina, special summon, and then I've got no target. But it is a good way to bait the Lycoris as well against the if they do Candina, effect to search, and you go Junke, target negate. If they say I only had one Lycoris in hand and go Lycoris reveal, and then you've got a way to negate the Lycoris, then they're kind of stuck because they can't do the same Lycoris if they've got another Lycoris. Naturally they can do that, but they can't do the same Lycoris because Lycoris has to reveal itself, so at that point it's already revealed, so they can't do it again. Next in my side, 2-star Pendulum Graph. I figured this could be useful just for the searching, but primarily the main reason I want it is for the first effect, which prevents my spellcasters being targeted by my opponent's spells or effects. So that's really useful. So I find that pretty useful if I'm going second against the Sky Striker matchup, which I don't find too frequent, but it can still happen. By playing Star Pendulum Graph, it means my spellcasters are safe from being Widow Anchored or Afterburnered. So yeah, primarily put it in to stop the Widow Anchor, but actually they're probably just going to use the Widow Anchor against the Electromite, but hey, I still like it. And then next, 2 red reboots just for trap heavy decks. Can completely shut down Paleo if I'm siding against that. Pretty useful against Altergeist as well, naturally. So not as many decks that I would side this against, but still useful because traps can easily be sided in. And then last card in my side, triple infinite impermanence, because I really like this. So I really prefer this over Effect Veiler because it does the same thing as Effect Veiler to target a monster and negate its effects, but also works also works well if I'm going fast, because if I set it, that turns off one column of my opponents, which is pretty useful if they happen to forget that effect. Okay, so that was the deck profile, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as always. And if you really enjoyed the video, feel free to hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.